Soaring Without Limits Enterprises presents the Triple E Podcast, a show dedicated to empowering women to elevate, expand, and explore their mindsets. I am your host, Mon'nique Pearson, best-selling author, mindset coach, international speaker, and travelologist. Are you ready to transform your life? Join us monthly for inspiring stories and actionable tips so that you can soar without limits. Well, hello. I am your host, Mon'nique Pearson. Welcome back to the Triple E Podcast, where we assist women to elevate, expand, and explore their mindset mentally, physically, spiritually, as well as financially. So every month, we bring you a guest who is going to add some value to your life. And today, it is no exception. So I'm going to go ahead and give you an overview and bio of who we have on our episode today. And then I'm going to invite her to the stage so we can go ahead and share. So I have with me this evening Prophetess Tameka Denise, founder and owner of CEO of Magnus Global Enterprises. She says she loves her some Jesus, y'all. Yes, we love Jesus too over here on the Triple E Podcast. She is a daughter of God, an ordained minister. She's an author of her book Uncovered, which we're definitely going to ask and get more into that. She's a life coach, a business coach, a kingdom builder for God, most importantly, and a mother of 3 amazing children. She's a mogul that's equipped to do the lot, but best of all is being a daughter of God. So without further ado, I am going to invite Prophetess Tameka Denise to the stage. Let's bring her forward. Good evening. How are you doing, Miss Tameka?
Good evening, Miss Mon'nique. I am perfect. I am doing good. It's the end of the week, so I'm excited about this. So ready for an amazing weekend. How about you?
Yes, ma'am. We are so happy it's Friday because the week has been weekend, but girl, we are here. And I am just like, thankful to be here to see another day and to definitely see the weekend, honey. So we are in accord as it pertains to that.
Yes.
All those who got the kids that's going back to school, so you already know what it is.
Yes, ma'am.
But we are excited to have you on the show this evening and to chat with you and to learn a bit more about what you have going on. So without further ado, we're going to go ahead and get started with the convo. So, Tameka, I want you to share with us how you discovered your divine purpose as a kingdom builder and how that influences your daily walk with God as well as in your business.
Great question. So, first and foremost, giving all honor to God, who is everything to me and the head of my life. I know that kind of sound cliche sometimes because we hear people say that in church, but I am so for real. If it had not been for the Lord on my side, I'm just being real. I don't know where I would have been. How I discovered my calling and my purpose in life was by understanding that since I've been growing up, I was always that person that wanted to know a lot. I was the person who wanted to discover things. If the math wasn't math, then you better know I had my calculator out and my paper and pen, and I was trying to make sense of some stuff, growing up.
Right.
And so, a lot of people typically what people sometimes don't like about you, it could be that may be your purpose, it may be your gift. And so I understood that the enemy had been fighting me since I was young when it came to my voice, because I spoke the truth. And as we know, the Bible says that the truth shall set you free, and who the
Oh,
Son sets free is free indeed.
really?
And so, because I talked, and I was the person that the people wanted to hush because they knew the words that were coming out of my mouth would be the truth. So it would expose not just people, but it would expose me too, right? And so I didn't know. I did not know who I was, to be honest with you. I did not know the mantle I carried. I did not know my gifts. And it wasn't until I was actually working my last job. I was there for 12 years. And my VP, my vice president, every Monday morning, he will always say, Tameka, I need you to walk the floor, encourage these people, get them ready because we're getting ready to make some money. It was a collection agency. And I was like, okay. But prior to that, the job before that, I was a manager there too. And so it was crazy how every job I was working, my first job was in fast food. So I worked there for 6 years. But every job that I worked at, they made me a team lead, a supervisor, or a manager. So I'm like, I didn't even know who I was. I was just like, okay, it's just favor in my life, and I kind of Mon'nique just threw it to the side, like, okay, whatever. But it wasn't until one day someone at the job, my last job I worked at, indicated
Mm-hmm.
7 years ago, this is not what you're supposed to be doing. And so that's when my mind kind of expanded a little bit because they was like, think about every room you walk in, you have this light that just inspires and encourages people. And here I go, Mon'nique. I'm like, okay, yeah, whatever. I
Yeah.
just love people. I just want people to, be successful. And so it was genuine. It was authentic.
Right.
And so that's
Mm-hmm.
when kind of light turned on in my mind. And I was like, okay, it's something special about me. And so that's when I started speaking. That's when people started booking me for speaking engagements because I started going on Facebook. I started going on
Mm-hmm.
Instagram and I created my profile and people was coming to my lives. So I was like, okay, well, here we go. And then I got me a life coach. And that's when she came in my DM and said, I would love to be your life coach. You have a life coach? And I ignored her
Right.
about 2 months later, she came back in my DM and she was like, Tameka, you are a life coach, okay? And if you need help with getting this thing off the ground, I'm here. And so I finally booked her and I got my life coach. And from there, I invested in myself. And then I became a life coach. And then it went out from there.
Well, you said a whole mouthful, but we're gonna have to unpack a little bit because one thing that you said that stood out to me was that you didn't know what your purpose was, and somebody else saw your purpose in you before you saw it in yourself. So now that you know that pathway and you are now being a life coach and serving others, how do you help others who have been where you have been and where you have walked and don't know their purpose and would like to find out how? How do you help someone do that?
So first it's about being real with themselves. So Mon'nique, to be honest with you, I first have a 20-minute consultation with everybody. Okay. Within that 20-minute consultation, I already determined that if I'm going to be able to put you in one of my life coaching courses or not. And it doesn't mean that they're a bad person or I'm a bad person. It just means that we're not equally inclined. We are not equally yoked. There's what you want or what you need. I don't have it. I truly
Right.
understand that a person has to come with an open mind and an open heart. And I tell everybody, I say, I believe in God, who's the Father of Jesus, the Messiah, and the Holy Spirit. So the Trinity runs through my veins and through my vessels in my blood. So I'm washed by the blood of the Lamb. So we get a true understanding. If you're not believing in God, because I'm prophetic in my life and business coaching. So if you're not praying, if you don't have a true relationship or you don't want a true relationship,
Right. Oh. Tameka, you with us? Tameka?
is that good? Okay. So I
Oh.
truly understand if a person has to be open minded and open hearted. And if they do not want to build a relationship with God, if they don't have a relationship with God, there's nothing that we can do. So, but how I
Mm.
do help the people that are
Mhm.
ready, what I do is first we get an outline of everything they already got going on so far, what they feel comfortable with sharing. And so from there, we kind of just make out a game plan. Okay, we start out with
Right.
that with the life coaching, and then from there, of course, there are certain criterias. But I tell people first, you got to accept and be open minded to be real with yourself. And a lot of things that I stress in my life coaching is stop playing about you. So until you're ready to surrender, and I get it, surrendering kind of, that's uncomfortable because it means like,
Yeah.
you
That's
know,
vulnerability, baby. That's
that part.
vulnerability.
So it's like I'm spiritually naked, I'm uncovered. I don't know you, and that's why I always tell people after their 20-minute consultation, this is what I tell them, Mon'nique. I say, look, pray about God, fast, and ask God, is Tameka Denise your life coach? And while you're praying, I'm going to be praying too. Now, if God answers yes, then let's go ahead and join and get you into the life coaching program. If not, it's well with my soul. But I pray that God sends you the right life coach to help you in your life to get your life back on track. And or it may be life after divorce, because I've been through a divorce. It may be life after, the kids get older, right? It may be
Right.
life after, hey, I'm just lost, my mom died. So a lot of things I help people with is things that Tameka Denise have already experienced.
Well, another thing that you said, far as all money ain't good money, and as you said, one being perfectly yoked, and I think a lot of us, especially those who are newer to entrepreneurship, feel like, okay, I got to take any and everybody, and everybody is not your assignment,
Mm-mm.
as you just perfectly alluded to. So you went all in and jumped into the deep end, girl, into the far as the coaching, but let's give us a better understanding about what Magnus Global Enterprises is. Like, what is your mission? What services do you offer? And how do you help women? Like, let's dig into that and give us the back story behind that.
Oh, great question. So Magnus Global Enterprises is my baby. Okay. Now, first and foremost, I never wrote this down. Okay. I never knew that God would be establishing a kingdom school under me. Okay. So about a year and a half ago, God gave me the word kingdom. And then he
Mm-hmm.
gave me the Bible scripture in the Lord's Prayer, thy kingdom come, thy
Right.
will be done on earth as it is in heaven. And when he
Mm-hmm.
gave me the word kingdom, he said, daughter, kingdom, everything. If you keep my commandments, if you pray without cease, and if you get closer, draw closer into me, I'm going to give you specific instructions and directions, and I will order your steps. And so
Mm-hmm.
I surrender to God. So if anybody know me in the business coaching field, what I do is my motto is I help transform busybodies into businessmen and businesswomen, kingdom businessmen and kingdom women. And what I mean by that, Monique,
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot of men and women in business that they do a lot of work. They do a lot of busy work. I got to do this. No. You can't wear all the hats. That's number one. Okay. So
Right.
let's strategize here, right? Let's get everything. Let's write everything out. Okay. Now let's see where you need to maybe hire and or get some assistance or some helpers to help you with this 501c3 LLC. So we help establish kingdom minded men and women businesses from the ground up. Now, some
Mm-hmm.
people, Monique, they already a boss, they already a businesswoman, they already a
Right.
CEO. So, what we do is we help create those funnels, their automation. We help to enhance their website. We do the business cards, we do the logos, we do the apparel when it comes to hats, t-shirts, etc. And we actually help rebrand, but not just rebrand, because a lot of people, especially the ones who just started entrepreneurship, it's kind
Mm-hmm.
of like school just started back. If your teacher or if you're in college, your professor comes in the room on the first day of school and they hand you some books and they say,
Right.
okay, congratulations, you're starting your new journey. And they say, okay, I'll see you at the end of the year. Go ahead
Like
and
what?
study. You like, what? So
Right.
that's what the coaching is for. And so that's
Mm-hmm.
what people pay. I have a team that does the automation, the funnels, the apparel, the business cards. But what I do when I show up, I let people know I'm a coach. I'm like the head coach on a football field. Okay. So when they need a mentor, I tell them go to the sideline. I have mentors for you that's a part of my Magnus Global Enterprises squad. But when you come on my turf, no, it's coaching. It's time to get down to the nitty gritty. Okay. The play is in full effect and we're ready to run it. And if you're not ready, that's what my mentors are for, to help assist you with your issues. But I'll be ready to rock and roll.
What? You didn't mention something. I'm gonna be transparent, y'all. I met Tameka. She hit me up on in the DMs. So sometimes there is a reason or far as value in you going to your DMs. Because most people think somebody's trying to holler at you, whatever, or coming at you crazy, which you do get. But I think sometimes you gotta listen to and be spirit led. So she did reach out to me on DMs,
I
and she
did.
told me about an initiative. I don't know how long it's been in effect. She didn't speak to, but I definitely want you to speak to what you approached me about, far as for the young people, far as that part of the house. Can you allude and speak to that a little bit?
Of course, of course, of course. So this year, to answer your question, Magnus Global Enterprises has been established since March 2025. Okay, so March
Mhm.
2025 is when we open up the doors to our life coaching and business coaching school. Okay, and so I came to your DM, Monique, and I just let you know that this year we have a program to sponsor a high school senior who is a graduate of class of 2026. Okay. And the sponsor a senior, what it is that I believe in helping our babies, helping our youngsters, because
Mhm.
we
Mhm.
didn't have all this. Like when I went
Right.
to school, we had the economics, we did. We had cohorts, we had different programs, but we didn't have like black men and women with business schools who saying, "Hey, let me bring you into my business school." So I said, you know what? I already coach people who, between the age of 18 and 55 anyway. So I was like, how about if we start with the 17-year-olds who's getting ready to graduate high school? And nowadays, they are not just graduating with their high school diploma, but they've been
Mhm.
having a major from 9th, 10th, and
Right.
11th and 12th grade. And so if they major is in business or economics or anything similar, what we want to do is extend Magnus Global Enterprises to that student. So when they graduate, they'll be graduating with their high school diploma, with their associate's degree, but also put them in our 6-month program that begins October 2025 through April 2026. So now the third thing that they will be graduating with is with their own business already established from the ground up. So when they go to college, go to trade school, or if they do not go to college, when they walking out the door, when they throwing their head off and they receiving
Yes.
congratulations for graduating high school, they also already bossed up. People are already going to have their name going to be out there, and we're going to have different things to connect them with different entrepreneurs and customers. So when they walk out and they graduate, they're also going to be that kingdom businessman and kingdom woman.
Yes, y'all. I love it, love it, love it. So that is why I had to have her on the platform to share about, because I just absolutely love this. So, Tameka, one, congratulations on starting as far as your new entity
Thank you.
this year. And you didn't share like how can people connect, find out more information, especially parents or those 17-year-olds who need that guidance to be able to know how to get set up the proper way. Where do they go to connect?
Great question, Monique. And Monique, I want to thank you as well because Monique actually did help sponsor a senior for 2026, a graduate for 2026. So thank you so much from the bottom of my heart for actually sponsoring a senior as well. So they can actually go to my website, which is www.magnus, MAGN as in Nancy, US,
Mhm.
global enterprises.com. And when they go there, it's actually a spot where it says a category that says sponsor a senior to get more details and more information if they would like to assist. Also, I actually have built a team to go to high schools in the Dallas Fort Worth Metroplex, and we're offering this program. So school just started back this week. Well, some started a week prior to that.
Right.
So we have a whole game plan. We going into schools 3 times a week, and we're offering this program. If a senior is interested, we're going to make sure in September that they are on that virtual link and they're on that Zoom, get more information with their parent. And if they're interested, the ball gonna get to rolling. And if someone would just want to actually come on to learn more so that they can promote it or assist, go to www.magnusglobalenterprises.com. And the whole overall is to become a magnet. And a magnet, MAGNATE, is a influential business person. It's somebody who's out here who's making an impact and a great influence on others.
Yes, I just love it. Anytime that we're going to be pouring into the youth and getting them on a pathway for success, and you already pretty much hit the nail on the head. Well, I think now back in my day, all we was taught to go to school to get a job and to learn how to get a skill in that way. But being able to have them set up for success to be their own boss, like I just absolutely love it. So y'all will make sure that I will put that link in the show notes so that y'all can go ahead and reach out to Tameka. And if you don't have a student, if you want to bless another young person to be able to support their dreams, you should be able to do that as well. So Tameka, you mentioned, and when I read in your bio that you wrote a book titled Uncovered. Tell us what that means and what is Uncovered speaking to.
Did you see how I looked, Mon'nique? I was like,
You looked away. What that mean, girl? Tell us what that means.
girl, child, let me tell you. First of all, I wrote the book during the pandemic 2020. Now, in
Mm-hmm.
2019, I was a vendor. I used to be a Mary Kay beauty consultant. So I was a vendor at this event. It was an event about a realtor. They had different vendors there, and they had like a seminar, and I went to be a vendor. I bought a vendor table, and I had my Mary Kay table set up, and it was actually a woman who has a writer's journey academy. And so when she introduced herself to me, we were talking.
Mm-hmm.
She was like, it seems like I know you from somewhere. And I just started mentioning schools I went to and jobs I worked at. And she was like, no, I'm not from Dallas, And I was like, okay. Well, I said, I don't know where we would know each other from. And so we exchanged contact information. Now, mind you, Miss Phyllis did not know me from a man on the moon, from Adam and Eve, right?
Right.
But we kept in contact. She would check on me. So during the pandemic 2020, she reached out and said, Tameka, your face came before me, and it's time for you to write you a book. And I said, write what book? I ain't never wrote that. I ain't said I write no book. Because I'm just a realist. Like, if I ain't said, I
Right.
ain't said that. And she
Right.
was like, just pray about it. It's time for you to write a book. So I said, okay. And so she told me with her next writer's journey was going to start. And because it was during the pandemic, it was going to be on
Mm-hmm.
Zoom, but typically it's in classroom setting. So I
Okay.
prayed about it. At that time, I was married. I consulted with my husband about it. And I said, she said this. And he was like, what you think? I said, I don't know. So I prayed. And lo and behold, God told me to start. So I started in her journey class. And as I was writing it, the whole time I done wrote the book, God told me I had to uncover my mess, Mon'nique. I said, I
Ooh,
ain't gonna do
I
that.
don't know. I ain't hear that, Jesus.
I done came too far. What you want me to expose? God, what
Right.
skeletons you want me to open up in the car? I ain't got time for all that. And as I was typing and writing, I did not know that God wanted me to uncover my mess. He said, if you uncover your mess, I will cover you in the blood.
Mm.
And I still held back in the book. That's why I'm writing my second book, which comes out 2026. 5 years later, here we go with another book. But it was not until Mon'nique, when my book was getting ready to be published, and we get celebrated. She has a big conference for her writers in her journey
Right.
program. And so April 2021. My book is published on Amazon, illustrated, ready to go. It's been edited, everything. And here we go in March of 2021. It didn't hit me. I've been writing this book for a whole year. And it
Mm-hmm.
finally hit me. I was pulling up at the post office, and I was going in to check my P.O. box. And I heard the Holy Spirit say, it was raining. I'll never forget. And I heard the Holy Spirit say, because your grandmother never finished her book. When I was a little girl, Mon'nique, my grandma was my baby. I was adopted. So I have 5 siblings, 3 brothers and 2 sisters.
Right.
And so we went to foster care. My mom addicted to drugs, prostitution. We have 3 dads in between us 6. They were on
Mm-hmm.
drugs. My dad was in prison to the day he passed away since I was 4 years of age.
Mm.
So my grandmother, when we were young, she had this typewriter, and she used to always tell us to type up these papers. She used to write it out, and then she started
Right.
losing her sight. So she used
Okay.
to speak it, and we used to type it. But she always wanted to write a book. But I wasn't thinking nothing of it when Miss Phyllis reached out. Okay, God told me to write it. It was raining a month prior to my book getting ready to be celebrated. I called Miss Phyllis Jenkins. I said, Miss Phyllis, I get it now. I say,
Mm.
the Holy Spirit just spoke to me as I was driving and said, because your grandmother book never was published, you are completing what she started. I
Mm,
cried my eyes out because she
wow.
never published her book. And so
Right.
I said, wow, some people will start it. You know what I'm saying? And
Mhm.
sometimes we be the ones to end things that started. And so that's what Uncovered is about. My mess, my silliness, my craziness. God uncover me to cover me.
Well, I appreciate you for your transparency because I just know that that is going to help and bless somebody
Yeah,
else who may feel that where you started that you can't get beyond that because they can't
yeah,
see anything else. And here you sharing your story and your testimony as
yeah,
to how you may have had a harder beginning, but still God was able to hold you and see you through to the other side and bring out the potential and all that He has in you. And
yeah,
then one, as you said, far as being able to not see the vision of your story or having feeling as if you have
yeah,
one, that God is going to bring someone else who may bring and paint that vision for you until you can carry that torch for
yeah.
yourself. So I definitely appreciate you sharing that because I hope that somebody that registers with them that we all have something inside of us. We all have a gift, and it's just being
Yes.
ready, waiting there for us to unwrap it. And sometimes somebody else has to put the package on there and show it to us before. Because I know that was my story. Same
Yes.
thing, not wanting to be out there on the stage speaking. Somebody else told me they saw it. I was like, girl, who you see? It wasn't me. That wasn't me, girl. It wasn't me in running. But God gonna catch up to you. You can't outrun him. What He has our calling for us. So y'all might as well just stop, put your track shoes down. You ain't a runner. You ain't a track star, and go on and walk out in that calling. So yes, thank you for sharing that. So I want to share, like, can you share with us a moment where divine guidance or a shift in your faith journey really changed the course of your life?
Oh, the shift of my faith journey. Oh Lord, it was so many accounts, but I can say since I've been a little girl, my faith has always been high. My grandmother told you she raised me, but I was like her shadow. And when my grandma used to leave me, I used to say, "Who I supposed to talk to when you're not around?" And she said,
Mm-hmm.
talk to God, baby. He listening. He's all knowing. He's omnipresent. And I'm a little girl, but I was like, okay, I'm finna start just talking to God. And I used to literally cry and wait till my grandma got off work. I was like, how dare you leave me? Like I was like glue. I was stuck to my grandma. And so my faith has always been, we were poor. And so I talk about that in my book. And that brought about low self-esteem, being bullied in elementary and middle school. And so I used to say, Grandma, don't worry about we don't have no food. Don't worry about if this is going on. Faith is the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen. So we're gonna hope for it. Like this me as a little girl, like it ain't nothing that like I didn't have to read a book. Like whatever God put inside of you, your gift will make room for you. Like I came out just I encourage people when I had nothing, and still to this day, I can have 1 cent in my pocket. And I'm like, faith without works is dead. I'm just gonna work my faith because I know God gonna come through for me. And I always been sassy when I was talking about God. Like he said he would. He's a God that he shall not lie.
Stand
And
on it.
so I used to have a little Charles, acting like there was the congregation growing up and be preaching. And then I used to act like I was a teacher. So like what's in you, I don't care how you try to hide it. I can go in
Mm,
this closet right now, Mon'nique. I was telling my kids this the other day. We had Bible study at home. I said, I can go in this closet right now and my energy, my light, like people will say something is in here. Because
mm,
what's in you, like you can try to put a cover over it, you can try to hide your gift, like your gift will make room for you. And so
mm,
when it came to my faith, this how I knew. So when I was going through my divorce, 2022,
mm,
my pastor said, Tameka, because I had been a public speaker. People were booking me when I was married. I had my conferences going on when I was married anyway. So, and he said, Tameka, God said it was December 2022. I was having anxiety attacks, panic attacks, because this was my first Christmas without my kids. Two of my kids were by one father, and then my ex-husband, I have one child. So
mm,
all of them was gone with their fathers for Christmas. And I was like, I'm having panic attacks, I'm having anxiety attacks. And my pastor said, Tameka, I got to tell you something. God told me this some weeks ago. He's taking you from being a public speaker to a preacher. I said, no. No, I said,
Don't
God,
want
what you want me to give to the people? It's me, oh Lord, standing in the need of prayer. I'm going through a divorce. I'm homeless. I'm staying with my friend. Me and my kids, we don't have nowhere to go. Like I'm on the verge of losing my mind. I don't even know what's going on. And I kept asking God, do I go back now? God said no to me because where I'm taking you, you marry somebody for your now. You didn't marry somebody for your future. He can't grow with you, and that means he
better
can't go
preach.
with you. And
Better preach.
so we my pastor said you got to go through ministers and training. I said no. I hid. I said no. I said I don't know. I said God, what you want me to tell the people when it's me? I'm going through, And so I surrendered and I started going to ministers and training. And my breakthrough came from Mon'nique through my
Mm.
obedience. When I obeyed the voice of the Lord and I obeyed Him, doors opened up for me that no man could shut, and I obeyed and I started preaching. But when I got up there, when my pastor ordained us, it was like seven more ministers, but they had already been in his ministers in training and they had
Right.
already had accolades and certifications, right? And so I was the rookie. So I'm the person that was saying, no, I don't want it. But when I preached, when I said heaven opened up, I was like, OMG. It's in me, the oil. Like God said, I had to break you. I was pruning you, my baby. He said, but all this, for we know Romans 8 and 28 declares, for we know that all things work together for the good, for those who love the Lord and who are called according to his purpose. So now I'm in divine timing, divine purpose. This is divine intervention, and I'm totally surrendered to his will and to his way.
Girl, you done preached us a whole message, honey. Y'all gone gone and past the plate. But what I heard what you were saying, and I know that some people register, they feel like God can't use you because you don't got everything all together. And as you said, He called you in the midst of your mess. And I just heard somebody recently say this, that broken crayons still color. And that says to me that God can still use you for His purpose, regardless of what state that you're in, because He is God and God alone. So He doesn't need you to be perfect. He doesn't need you to be qualified. He just needs you, as you said, to be obedient and answer the call. So, girl, thank you for coming on. Thank you
You're
for
welcome.
encouraging, enlightening, empowering, inspiring, and reigniting probably somebody's faith. So we definitely appreciate having you on. I'll definitely make sure we spread the word about the program for the students and
Thank
drop
you.
the links. So y'all make sure y'all tune in next month to make sure that you are elevated, expand and explore your mindset, your faith, your spirituality, because the Triple E Mindset, Triple E podcast is here to serve. We'll see y'all next month.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks for coming.